And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Open Connection. I'm your host, Robert Pictou. Aluminum compounds have been proven useful for thousands of years. Around 5000 BC, Persian potters made their strongest vessels from clay that contained aluminum oxide. Ancient Egyptians and Babylonians used aluminum compounds in fabric dyes, cosmetics, and medicines. However, it wasn't until the early 19th century that aluminum was identified as an element and isolated as a pure metal. On today's Open Connection, we open our archives to bring you this story from 1991.
The rugged northwest coast of British Columbia. A natural wilderness and resource-rich land. The pioneering spirit that helped settle this magnificent region is still evident today, developing new technologies, new products, and new markets for one of Canada's leading export industries. Aluminum, strong and lightweight, corrosion-resistant and easily alloyed, readily fabricated and endlessly recyclable. This set of properties make it the metal of choice for a host of applications, from household foil to motor vehicles. And it's taking on new dimensions at Alcan's Kitimat Works. With new technologies and significant investment, Kitimat Works is ready to enter the 21st century, supplying value-added aluminum products to existing and new clients around the world. Slabs of custom alloyed sheet ingot weighing up to 35 metric tons. Smooth extrusion ingot, heat treated and packaged to individual customers' exacting specifications. World quality products are essential for customer satisfaction. The people who make them and the plants where they are produced, these are the pillars of Alcan's expanding business in the 90s. A global company with local roots. The Kitimat Camano project was born in the late 1940s when Alcan was asked by the provincial government to investigate the possibility of establishing an aluminum production facility in northwestern British Columbia. A venture, it was hoped, would spur additional industrial growth in the region. The key to Alcan's decision to proceed was the opportunity to develop an abundant source of hydroelectric power, crucial to the aluminum smelting process. The water to meet this need lay in a vast network of lakes and streams on a high interior plateau, nestled behind the coastal mountain range. Alcan accepted the challenge and the expense, $500 million, more than $2 billion in today's currency. For its time, the project was staggering in scope. The Kenny Dam, a wedge of water-impervious clay sheathed in millions of tons of rock, reversed the easterly flow of the Nechako River, creating the Nechako Reservoir. On the western end of the reservoir, the Tatsa intake was built at the head of a 16-kilometer tunnel, drilled and blasted through the mountains. This 8-meter diameter arched tunnel would be capable of carrying up to 135 cubic meters of water per second to penstocks on the other side of the mountains. There, twin columns of water would drop nearly 800 meters, driving the turbines of 8 generators housed within a cathedral-sized powerhouse carved deep inside the granite rock of Mount Dubose. Camano was the new village that would house the families of personnel required to keep power operations running. But for all its splendor, the Camano Valley was simply too small to accommodate an aluminum smelter, let alone a larger town site. A route was found to transmit the electricity over the 1,590-meter high Kildala Pass, to the broad Kitimat Valley some 75 kilometers to the northwest. Ample space and a natural year-round ice-free deep-water harbor, as well as road and rail access to the BC interior, were available at Kitimat. With power from Camano, the Kitimat smelter began operations in July 1954.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thanks for staying with us. In 1886, two 22-year-old scientists independently developed a smelting process that made economical mass production of aluminum possible. Known as the Hall-Héroult process after the American and French inventors, the process is still a primary method of aluminum production today. Let us return to the archives to learn more about the Kitimat shelter.
It is now the largest of Alcan's 7 Canadian smelters, with an annual operating capacity of over 270,000 metric tons, bringing to Canada almost $500 million in revenue from overseas. Kitimat Smelter employs more than 2,200 people, with an annual payroll valued at $115 million in total compensation. In addition, the smelter annually purchases almost $65 million worth of goods and services, excluding raw materials. Of this, nearly 85% is purchased from within the province. The Kitimat Camano project also created the community infrastructure that has attracted other industries. Alcan Pulp and Paper and Ocelot Chemicals are now located in Kitimat, providing additional jobs and a further economic boost to the region. Sharing a rich diversity of cultures and traditions, the Kitimat community has grown and prospered alongside its native Haisla neighbors across the Douglas Channel in Kitimat Village. The hub city of Terrace, less than an hour's drive away, provides Kitimat with additional services. Highways to the interior and daily air service to Vancouver make Terrace a gateway transportation center for the Pacific Northwest. Today, Kitimat continues to thrive with its many cultures and the same pioneering attitude that founded the town back in the 50s. Its unique plan design allows for continued development with more pedestrian walkways, parkland, and shopping as new neighborhoods grow in the spectacular Douglas Channel landscape. A wealth of man-made and natural recreational opportunities provide an exceptional combination of wilderness and urban lifestyles for Kitimat residents and visitors alike. The best of all indoors and all-season outdoor activities. Winter brings excellent downhill and cross-country skiing conditions. It also brings heavy snowfalls and many long, cold nights highlighted by shoveling marathons. But the spring rains mark the return of summer, and when the sun finally does come out, so do the people of Kitimat. But this is really a story of two communities. Although 75 kilometers to the southeast, the village of Camano is an integral part of the Kitimat Works operation. Alcan's passenger boat service is the usual mode of transportation, following the Douglas Channel and Gardner Canal between the two communities. The boat is also equipped for medevac and other emergency operations. Due to the difficult access to this remote location, helicopters provide the only other real transportation alternative. Though isolated, the Camano community boasts many of the recreational amenities of an urban lifestyle. And, of course, the best hiking and fishing to be found, all against the spectacular backdrop of the BC coastal wilderness. Residents here don't have to be reminded that they're not the only ones living in this valley. Conservation and caution go hand in hand with these folks. But the business of Camano is generating electricity. Camano Power Operations is the heartbeat of Kitimat Works, providing a steady supply of hydroelectric power, one of two key ingredients in the aluminum smelting process. The other key ingredient is the raw material, bauxite, a red ore with a high content of alumina found close to the surface in tropical and subtropical countries only. The alumina, also known as aluminum oxide, is extracted by a chemical process. 4 kilograms of bauxite yields about 2 kilograms of alumina in the form of a fine white powder, which in turn produces a kilogram of the metal aluminum. Alumina for Alcan's Kitimat smelter is imported from Australia and Japan. To produce metal, it is necessary to free aluminum from its natural bond with oxygen. The electrolytic reduction process requires a large amount of electrical energy.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. The metallic element aluminum is the third most plentiful element in the Earth's crust, comprising 8% of the planet's soil and rocks. In nature, aluminum is only found in chemical compounds as other elements such as sulfur, silicon, and oxygen. Pure metallic aluminum can be economically produced only from aluminum oxide ore. Let us return to the archives to see the smelting process.
Turning the alumina into metal begins here in one of 15 pot room buildings in more than 900 cells, or pots as they're called. Alumina forms a crust over a molten electrolytic bath inside the pot. Periodically, the crust is broken, feeding the alumina into the pot, where it dissolves in the high-temperature bath of cryolite. Then, as direct electrical current is conducted through the solution, the aluminum and oxygen molecules separate. The oxygen combines with other elements, such as carbon, and is carried off in a gas collection system, leaving the molten aluminum metal to settle to the bottom of the pot. A dry scrubber system recaptures virtually 100% of the fluorine gas emitted from the pots and reintroduces it into the production process. Approximately every 24 hours during the continuous process, other gases build up inside each cell, interfering with the flow of electrical current. Workers insert a dry wooden pole, which ignites, helping to disperse the gases and restoring the process to normal. Nearly 1 metric ton of aluminum is siphoned daily from each pot. First, a hole is broken through the crust. Then a tube connected to a heated crucible is inserted. A partial vacuum is created, causing the molten aluminum to flow up through the siphon into the crucible. Full crucibles, each containing 5 metric tons of molten aluminum, are towed to one of 2 casting centers. There, the molten metal is again siphoned, this time from the crucible into a holding furnace, where it is aerated with inert gases which bring impurities to the surface to be skimmed off. Samples are taken for quality control analysis before alloying ingredients such as magnesium and silicon are added. Alloys are made to customers' specific requirements. In recent years, Kitimat has moved away from production of remelt ingot, pure aluminum ingots which are remelted, alloyed, and recast by the customer. Alcan's unique tri-lock remelt ingot, which formerly accounted for up to 2/3 of Kitimat Works' production, is now being replaced with value-added products. Extrusion ingot, which is pushed through dies to emerge in one of thousands of different useful forms, such as window and door frames or structural components for other products, and sheet ingot, which is rolled to produce foil, beverage can stock, and architectural sheet for such products as roofing and siding. Both sheet and extrusion ingot are cast by the direct chill method. In this process, molten metal is solidified in the desired shape as it flows into a shallow mold. The molten metal is poured into the top of the mold and emerges solid at the bottom. Beneath the mold, the ingots are cooled by a series of water jets. A computer-controlled platform beneath the mold table is lowered into the casting pit at a specified rate, supporting the ingots as they grow downward. Molds in both casting centers can be changed to produce a wide variety of shapes and sizes. In this new $55 million facility, rectangular sheet ingot and very large diameter extrusion ingot are produced, up to 11 meters in length. A single pour can empty either one of 2 tilting furnaces, some 75 metric tons of molten aluminum. These ingots can weigh up to 35 tons and require special handling equipment. They are lifted vertically from the casting pit by a radio-controlled crane and positioned on a lay-down cradle, which gently lowers them to a horizontal position. The ingots are meticulously inspected, both visually for surface finish and ultrasonically for internal quality. Too large to handle or ship in one piece, sheet ingots are cut to customer specification with a giant bandsaw. Sample slabs are also taken for further quality control analysis as the sawn ingots are moved to a holding area prior to shipping. Kitimat Works' other casting center is dedicated mainly to production of extrusion ingot. While the casting process is the same as that used for sheet ingot, extrusion ingot is cast in the form of solid cylinders. Extrusion ingots are also inspected both visually for surface finish and ultrasonically for internal quality. After passing inspection, the ingot is heat treated. Designed here at Kitimat Works, each of the 2 homogenizing furnaces can treat 20 metric tons per load. Custom heat treated for each size of extrusion ingot and each type of alloy is made possible by a sophisticated computerized control system. After leaving the homogenizing furnaces, the ingots are packaged according to customers' shipping requirements. They are sawn to length using safe and efficient robotic technology. While shorter ingots are tightly bundled in packages, longer lengths are strapped in stacks for transport. Most of the aluminum produced at Kitimat Works is shipped from Alcan's deep-water multi-purpose wharf, located at the head of Douglas Channel. Approximately 70 ocean-going cargo vessels and 20 barges dock here each year to deliver raw materials and pick up aluminum ingot. The facility operates day and night when ships are dockside. Almost 1 million tons of material crosses the wharf at Kitimat each year, making it one of the busiest ports in BC. Sheet and extrusion ingot are much in demand in today's world marketplace. For Alcan, these value-added products mean implementing superior research standards. It also provides a more certain market, improved profitability and stability for Kitimat's workforce. Value-added means meeting customers' increasingly demanding specifications. Continuous product improvement is essential. Kitimat's new $4 million laboratory plays a major role in this quality control process. Every raw material that comes in and every product that leaves Kitimat Works is analyzed to the highest standards technology allows. As well, the lab is a key element in Kitimat Works' environmental monitoring program. All of Alcan's operations are carried out with a careful concern for both employee safety and environmental protection. This was a primary consideration in Alcan's $240 million modernization program that began in the mid-1970s and still continues today. Part of this modernization included the construction of a $90 million anode paste plant, resulting in a much cleaner atmosphere. An extensive employee health program detects occupational hazards and identifies any risk of disease.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
On July 18, 1959, Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip visited Terrace. The plan outlined that the royal party will stop over 40 minutes, will meet dignitaries at the tarmac at the Terrace airport, will be greeted by the Nishka, leave the airport in a 4-car caravan consisting of a convertible and 3 limousines, and will travel at good speed into town, and on the designated route will tour at 8 miles an hour in the village. In this final segment of Open Connection, we bring you this news story of Alcan's 50th anniversary.
It's not every day you see people spending 3 days to set up a tent of this size for an anniversary celebration. But this event is a big exception.
Over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, first when I went to Kitimat to work, we were getting calls, what are you going to do for Alcan's 50th? It's a huge celebration. It's a milestone in history. And they're absolutely right.
50 years ago, Prince Philip poured the first aluminum ingot produced at Kitimat Works. The world watched as the smelter was brought to operation, stimulating Kitimat's growth and creating significant opportunities in the Northwest. The Kitimat Centennial Museum is running an exhibit telling the story of Alcan and its growth over the years.
Half of the display is actually from 54 until about circa 1970 that we cover those years. That the majority of the plant's life has been spent, certainly after the construction project was just the beginning, and we're looking at 50 years of history of pouring aluminum.
The exhibit enlightens the new generations and sparks fond memories of Kitimat's pioneers.
We've had a lot of people through that remember working on the lines, remember working in Alcan, the smelter, and they've been coming back and saying really positive things about all the images, people recognizing people in the show.
River Lodge will be the main stage for the festivities, and organizers are prepared to host hundreds, if not thousands, of people.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Open Connection. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but that connection from his mind to his heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.